Hello and welcome to my guide on how to change the Wi-Fi settings on a router. In this case we are changing the router settings on a BT Home Hub version 3. Okay, let's get started. What we need to start with is 2 bits of key information. Firstly, we'll need the administration password for the router, and secondly we actually need the IP address of the router. That's so we can log on to the security settings. Okay. The password is usually noted on the back of the router or in the manual, if they're still on the default settings, and the address is in the manual, or if you've lost that, there's another way of finding that out. To do so, go to the network icon at the bottom right hand corner, right click it, open the Network and Sharing Center, then go to the connections. In this case we're using Ethernet, then go to Details. And here we should see the IP version 4 default gateway. Now that should be the default address for the router, so make a note of that, we'll need that later. Okay, now we will open an internet browser. We will type in the address of the router, or the default gateway. So here it comes up to the summary page for the BT Home Hub, or in different manufacturers it will show different information, but here it just shows the details saying we're connected to the internet and any devices which are connected at the moment. Okay, so the next step is to go into the settings and make the relevant changes. Okay, so first of all we're going to go to settings at the top button here. Now here we'll need the admin password, which we made a note of earlier. Okay, so now we can go in and change a few more settings. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into advanced settings first, and that'll give us a bit more functionality. Here it just says that settings are preset, we shouldn't need to change them, but if it is a case that someone knows your details, we might need to change them. So let's go to advanced settings. Okay, and then we'll hit the wireless tab here. Okay, here we are wireless details for our router. Okay, so we can see that Wi-Fi is actually enabled. You can see the name of our wireless network, the interface type, the wireless channel, and the different security settings. We're using WPA and 2. And then finally here at the bottom is the key, which you'll need to try to connect to a wireless connection. Now, if we wanted to change the wireless network, we would first just put a new name in here, so we'll call this test Wi-Fi. Okay. Next, we can change the interface type. So this is basically the radio type for Wi-Fi. So on this particular router, it supports 3 types: B, G, and N. We'll stick to B, G, and N, as N is the fastest. And then channels, there's 13 different channels. I'd recommend using 1, 5, and 13. But again, it's down to preference. It's basically you change the channel if you're getting interference with a different network. So if your next door neighbour is using Wi-Fi, you have problems connecting, you might find you're using the same channel, so it might be worth changing to a different type. Okay. And then here's the security settings. So we're using WPA and WPA2 now. Probably will stay with that. But if you wanted to drop down to WEP, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it due to security loopholes. It's always recommended to use the strongest encryption security possible, so I'd use WPA2. Okay, and then finally we can change our wireless keys. So I'm going to try to change it to something a bit stronger than I am secure. So I'm going to use a mixture of numbers and characters. So my 56QA3DS. So that's not a word, it'd be very difficult to sort of try to guess. So that's all the settings now changed. Now, as I said, you can put that to any password. Okay. Here it's just saying that any devices which are connected at the moment will lose their settings. It's because the settings are changed, so we'll apply that. Takes a few moments normally. And that's now applied. So if any of your wireless devices, they'll just need to enter the new wireless network name, followed by the wireless key, and then they should be connected on a secure WPA2 connection. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for viewing.